Rock Solid Radio wants to thank Maxwell Construction, who has been our sponsor since the very beginning. For over 30 years, Maxwell has delivered the highest quality projects by holding to their core values of customer satisfaction, positive attitude, respect, and excellence. So if you have any kind of commercial construction need, give Maxwell Construction a call today at 812-537-2200. Hi, welcome to Rock Solid Radio. I'm Linda Hutchinson, the Executive Director of Rock Solid Families, and we are here today with two special guests. Well,
I'm not your guest.
Well, okay, one special guest and one regular host.
One plain old dude.
No, the love of my life for 34 plus years.
Yes.
We just had an anniversary.
Oh,
yeah.
34.
Yeah.
He's been stuck with me for 34
well,
years.
It works both ways.
Yeah.
So how you doing, hon?
Good.
We are excited about our guest today.
Yes.
All right, because one of the things we were talking about actually just before we hit the record button was about being real and how it's important when we do shows or tell our story that we're not fake, we're not made up, and we stutter and we mix up words and those sort of things happen, and we're not plastic. So
I think you're getting real today.
Well, we've got a real story,
Yeah,
and so looking forward to getting into that. So we're going to do that. But before we do that, let's get all the busy stuff out.
Get
so I want to
way.
thank Maxwell Construction and Casey's Outdoor Solutions for coming alongside Rock Solid Radio and being sponsors for what we do and giving us the opportunity to have these kind of conversations and continue to preach the value of family and marriage. So we want to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions and Maxwell Construction.
Yep.
Got a couple of announcements here that we want to probably make sure we get to. And I was looking through the other day. Do you know how many shows we have now?
I think it's 140 something.
We have over 140. Yeah, you're good. You're good. We have over 140 Rock Solid radio shows, and we have about 101, 102 Strong Dad shows.
Yeah.
And the point with that is we've got a heck of a library, and so jump on our website. Those are all kinds of topics. So, you'll get into one of those. Maybe it's about divorce. Maybe it's about parenting kids. Maybe it's about adventure and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Go find those things. We actually use them as like homework.
Deb, you probably have had some homework shows before.
Before you come back to class, you have to.
But last week on our show on Guilty Parenting really hit home with some parents. And if you have not watched last week's show, I really encourage you to. It really struck a nerve for some. I actually had one mom message me and tell me, oh my gosh, that is so me, and that I do things out of trying to be the cool mom or have, to be the fun mom. And she said in this text, I've created a teenage monster. And I told her, I said, it's never too late, but they're not going to like it if you start to make changes. And she said, I know, we've already started to try, and she is not liking it. Her teenager is not liking it. So I really encourage you to go back and check out Guilty Parenting.
Yeah, and as soon as your kids start to give you a little pushback, especially if you've waited till later, even 11, 12, 13, 15 years old, and you start to push back, it's going to be challenging. But with that being said, we talk about hitting reset buttons frequently on our show. And, sometimes that's when you look at your kids and say, what I've been doing is not good. And so I'm telling you up front, I'm not going to surprise you. I'm telling you up front that from now on, this is how we're going to roll in the house. Yep. And that just helps them understand why you've lost your mind.
Yeah.
Why you're doing things differently.
We're going to be making changes. And, that leads me, hun, to our guest today, because she is one of our clients. I've asked her permission to share that part of it because that is something we hold in important confidence. But a friend of mine, client of ours, Debby Baker, is here with us, and I just want to thank you, Debby, for being here today. And we got the box of Kleenexes. We're good, and if we need to. But Deb, before we start, I've told you this before in some of our sessions, that in all my years of working with individuals and couples and families, I honestly have never had someone like you. Isn't that great to know?
I'm not sure how, Deb, you should take that.
And honestly,
I don't know either.
Some of the most difficult and unique challenges and tragedies that Debbie's experienced, I think I've called you an anomaly before. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. You just don't fit in any kind of coaching or counseling box. And so that is why really I felt like, God is using your story, and I have seen God do some mighty things already, and I know he's not done yet. So my prayer today is in this story that Debbie's going to share that somebody will be inspired, because you have truly been an inspiration to me. And I know that your story has already helped a lot of people, and it's going to continue to help a lot of people. So that's why you're here. So thank you. Thank you for being here. So our show today is finding hope in the grief. But before we do that, I think we got to go back a little bit, Deb, and kind of share with our audience, some things first. And we've teased about this before. Like, this could be a mini series, right?
Yes, ma'am.
This could be an 8-week part series, but we're going to kind of do the Reader's Digest first in today. And so I think it is powerful and moving still. So my question for you, Deb, because we've been doing a lot of the talking here. First, share with our audience, who is Debbie Baker? It's going to be who is Debbie Baker?
Is it a game show here or what?
There you go. Come on down.
Come on down.
Who am I?
Yeah.
I'm 57 years old. I've lived in southeastern Indiana since I was 11. I'm the first wave of Buckeyes to come.
Ooh,
You're one of those
the
Buckeyes.
transplants.
Yeah, I'm a transplant.
Well, I am too. So
There you go.
Yeah,
Join
about
the
the same age.
join the parade.
And let's see, I run a in-home daycare. I have a cleaning business also. I've raised 2 children. I'm a bubba, not a grandma. I have a grandson. I'm a bubba.
A bubba.
I'm a bubba.
I'm a mamaw. He's a papaw. And you're a what are you?
Bubba.
Bubba. Okay. That sounds like kind of a guyish name.
I know.
I would not call you a bubba without permission, because I think I could get knocked down real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just lead kind of a boring life.
Because you're Debbie Baker.
Because I'm Debbie Baker.
I think,
Aunt Deb to a lot.
Aunt Deb. Yeah, to a lot of adopted kiddos and families that how long have you done in-home daycare?
16 years.
Oh,
Wow.
boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you average
Anywhere from 9 to 15 kids a day, depending on
people.
summertime
She
and
runs a
everything.
ship, man. She's got it down, and that alone just mesmerizes me and how you do that. But so you're a local girl, and so our stories today that you're going to be sharing really hit home to a lot of people who are going to be listening and watching. And so we want to respect other people's privacy and other people's pain. So we're really going to be careful with that. But our goal is to bring hope to the hopeless, to try shine some light into the darkness. And so, you've had some dark days, Debbie.
Yes,
so,
ma'am.
Why don't you tell us about Ken first?
Okay, Ken is my husband. We were together 22 and a half years when I lost him. We thought it was just going to be another routine, going to the hospital, spending a day or two, getting antibiotics, and that's not what happened. I took him to the hospital thinking he was just dehydrated because I had been sick that weekend, and that's what I thought he had.
He had some leg pain or something, didn't he?
Yes. And I put him in on Tuesday, and they amputated his leg on Thursday. He had the flesh-eating bacteria.
Oh, yeah, bacteria.
Yeah, and there was a couple other infections inside his body, and he went into renal failure. And by 5:15 on Friday afternoon, I had lost him. He was 16 days shy of his 55th birthday.
Wow. So this has been how many years ago, Deb?
3.5.
3.5 years ago. And so he's dealing with leg pain earlier in the week. He goes in for what you think is routine, and by the end of the week, he's gone.
Yes.
So here you are grieving the sudden loss of the love of your life. And that alone would put people into darkness and dealing with that. And I know that you struggled with the guilt of not being there when he passed. He'd sent you home, didn't he?
He had sent me home. The guilt that I felt was they tried to contact me before they intubated him. He wanted to talk to me, and I didn't have the phone in my bedroom at the time.
So that's been a hard part of the grief for you, is really the what ifs.
Yeah.
What if I had my phone? What if I had not left the hospital? And
not being able to say goodbye.
Yeah.
Even if you knew something bad was going to happen.
Yeah.
So, if you're listening out there and you've lost someone you love suddenly, or not even suddenly, maybe they have had a debilitating illness or cancer, and you slowly saw them deteriorate, we know that is dark and that is heavy. And alone, that could have been your story. But unfortunately, that's not the end of your story. That was just the beginning of some heavy pain that you've gone through. So, and I asked your permission for this because this is a hard one. Tell us about the tragedy that struck and the accident that occurred.
November 16th, 2019. I was traveling to meet my sister-in-law and brother-in-law for lunch, and I was picking up my daughter and my grandson. When I was traveling down Indiana 1, a young man, a 15-year-old boy, ran out in front of my car, and I couldn't stop. And it was a fatality.
Horrible accident. We remember actually when that happened, right down the road from us. And I know that's been a really hard one for you.
Yes, it has. It happened in front of his house, and his mother was there, and the little boy was still conscious, and then she got to talk with him, and she also talked to me.
What did she say?
She told me it wasn't my fault.
Oh, boy.
That it wasn't my fault.
Yeah. Ooh. And so, Deb, I know that's been haunting for you. And part of, as we've met and talked, I saw a woman who struggled to accept the forgiveness of that mother who looked at you. And she's not just said that once, by the way. She's said that several times, hasn't she?
Yes, she has.
You even went to the funeral.
I went to the memorial. Yes.
Memorial. And she made a point to come to you.
Yes.
And what's been the hardest part about that for you, Deb?
The pain that I've caused her of losing her only child. Because I'm a mom, so I know.
Yeah. So that's been since when? November 2019? So even in the midst of this intense tragedy, you found love and forgiveness.
Yes, I did.
From the child's family, from your family and friends. I mean, you kind of had the hardest part of just forgiving yourself.
Yep.
And believing that, God still loves you and God still has a plan for all of this, even in the pain. And so, hindsight looking back, Deb, as you and I have processed this, God was preparing you. God has been preparing you this tragedy for the next tragedy. Because this is where the anomaly comes in. Like, girl, I don't have words to even understand how this has been one hit after another for you. So tell us about your little guy.
One of my little guys in daycare, his name was Chase. And how do you describe Chase? Chase is like the Tasmanian devil into a room.
Running free.
He was a little small guy, but he had such an impact. Such an impact. And I received a knock on my door. He was my neighbor. He was also in my daycare. I received a knock on my door, and it was my neighbor, next door neighbor, telling me that Chase had fallen in the pool and they were performing CPR on him. And I just took off running. And I got there. Mom had everything under control. Dad was in agony. Their daughter was inside, and the best thing I could do was just to take Kenzie,
grab her and
take her back to my house.
Yeah.
so they could. And
yeah. And, I think back on that, Deb, and, the pain that whole family has gone through. That's been over a year now. But God, almost like in the midst of your grief and pain, was able to love on and minister to another family that was experiencing, because, that family had a lot of what ifs. Yes. What if I had been outside? What if I hadn't sent them over to grandma's? What if I taught him how to swim better? Like all of those things that, man, and he was, from what I'm hearing, he was just a ball of fire.
He was.
And Chase, little guy, was a beautiful little angel on this earth. But that's kind of where you came into me months after that. It was kind of like, three's a charm here. I mean, it's like 3 strikes you're out. I don't know how you look at it, but like it felt like it was one after the other that you've experienced pain. And so we really try to start to process that. And, you were coming up on some anniversaries, I know, and the grief was really heavy. Describe a little bit about what brought you into Rock Solid Families. What made you finally say, I got to talk to somebody?
I couldn't handle it anymore. The thoughts I was having were scaring me. And I knew I tried to process things myself, and I wasn't doing a very good job.
Yeah.
Debby, because I was not in on your counseling or anything like that. This was between you and Linda working, but I do have a question just as a bystander. What was your level of relationship with Christ, your level with God or faith or religion? Did you have a background in any of that? Was that...
Yes.
Where were you at with that?
I've always been a believer. My mom used to take us to church. I went to church with my friends when I was in high school. I had gotten away from it a little bit. I hadn't really gone to church after Ken passed, dealing with that. So,
yeah,
I needed something.
But he never stopped pursuing you.
No.
And,
oh, no.
And that's what we're really here to talk about is that, I want to push pause here for a second and really talk about to our audience and here right now that, Debbie's story is heavy. And like I said, I've not experienced anything like the tragedies that you have experienced. And it is beyond something that you can bear alone. And that's what we're here to talk about is that grief sometimes feels so heavy. And it does feel overwhelming. But, there was a wise counselor that I used to get some training with that once said, being buried and being planted feel the same. And so while you felt weighed down by this grief, God was doing something with the seeds that you had planted or the family, your parents had planted years and years ago, decades ago. And they were starting to bear fruit. And that's what we want to really focus on today is how you can find hope in the midst of grief. And so, if you're listening to the show and you're feeling overwhelmed, whatever you focus on is going to get bigger, okay? If you focus on your pride and that, I got this, and, God's going to say, this is too much for you alone. He's going to get your attention. I always say you either drop to your knees or he's going to knock you to your knees. And so I would rather personally go to my knees. It's a lot less painful.
Yes, it is.
To do it on your own. And so, I appreciate your willingness to say, I need help. I need help. And I remember that phone call. I remember you laying all that out in our initial conversation. And in a little email, you went 1, 2, 3, and I was like, holy cow, I don't have words for that. I went back and I looked at that email. You have to go back and check that out, what you just dropped that bomb on me. And it's like drop the mic kind of thing. And it was a lot. And so...
Can I maybe just interject something here? So I want our viewers and listeners here to be very clear because this could get fuzzy. God doesn't cause the death of those people so that you will benefit and grow.
No.
And so please do not mishear anything here. That's not what we're saying at all. God allows free will and choice, but he also gives us the resource to get through when tragedy happens, because when we have free will and choice, tragedies do happen, and that's the fallen world that we live in. And so I just want to be very clear that we wouldn't be saying stuff like God's preparing you through the death of these people. No, you have an opportunity to make a choice to tap into him to get through these difficulties. Okay. And so just want to be careful there, because God does not kill someone so that you will grow and become a more faithful person.
No. He takes our pain. He takes the darkness. He takes the ugly. I mean, the Bible says that he makes beauty out of ashes. The ashes have already occurred. And so it's really surrendering our way and our plan. Like, you had a plan of you and Ken retiring and doing life together, and you were going to stop babysitting maybe someday, I don't know, and go off and ride into the sunset. And it's hard to think that that plan is no longer, and surrendering our way and our plan for his. But he does a much better job of it if we turn over the reins to him. And focusing instead of on our pain. Like we said, if we just sit there and wallow in our pain, then we're never going to get through it. We're going to get stuck in it. And so focusing instead on the healer instead of just the healing is really important.
Deb, by the measurement of the world standards, you have every reason to be depressed, angry, mad, which I'm sure at certain times you've been all of those things, okay? But what motivated you to not be stuck there? You're 57 years old. Why not say, you know what, this, I guess, what life is, and it's miserable, and I'm going to just
wallow in it.
What motivated you to say, this is not how I'm going to get stuck?
He did it. I was pushed. There was a catalyst, as I told her in our sessions that November, coming up on the anniversary of Joshua. I was pushed. I had her card for months. Months. I just set it up on the shelf. I went about my day almost to the point of I overdo things. I work a lot. That was how I was dealing with things. Yep. You don't think about it. You don't talk about it. It's not there, but it's there. And he pushed me, saying, you're not existing anymore. There's more to you. There's more to life. You're going to have to. We're pushing you. I'm pushing you.
You felt that prompt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
And this show's a hard one because everyone's situation is different. I mean, your story is so unique, Deb, and so, but people are going to be like, well, you don't know my story. And the cycle of grief is so erratic. There's no linear motion to it. There's no predictability of it. And so you've all of it, the anger, the denial, the grief, all of that is cycle that we can't really predict. But I love the verse, hon. Could you read the verse out of 1 Thessalonians 4? Because I believe that this is why we're called to speak about grief and to really do a show like today.
Yeah, and please listen to this, because this is where you'll see Christians pull through these challenging times, and they'll have a different resource that maybe others don't. It says, brothers and sisters, we do not want you to be uninformed about those who sleep in death, so that you do not grieve like the rest of mankind who have no hope. For we believe that Jesus died and rose again, and so we believe that God will bring with Jesus those who have fallen asleep in him. And so everybody has the opportunity to grieve. So this is kind of like, both houses, the one built on sand and the one built on a solid foundation, both of them are going to get hit by storms. And so whether it's Deb or Linda or myself or you watching, storms are going to come. That's the free will, that's the fallen nature of man. But hope gives us the fight to go another day and to turn it into something valuable. Like, okay, so I don't want these passings and these tragedies to
wasted.
and nothingness, and to wastedness. Like, so what is the fire that will come from this?
Yeah.
What is the new thing? And so
Yeah.
that when somebody says, I don't understand this whole Christian thing, that right there, it's the hope that you get, that Christ can use this for something bigger.
And by the way, we're not just talking about death. You could be grieving the loss of a friendship. You could be grieving the loss of a job or career, maybe because of a tragic accident that left you paralyzed or left you disabled. You could be grieving the loss of dreams that you once had because of divorce or things like that. And so everybody grieves differently. And so this show can apply to you. Like I said, Debbie, not many people have experienced the grief that you have, but you truly have been an inspiration to me, because we haven't even gotten to the best part of your story. Okay, and what I love most about this story is that, Debbie, you took your brokenness, all that pain, all that sadness, all that grief, and you laid it down at the foot of the cross. You surrendered it and turned it over to the one who can carry it. It wasn't going to be me. I told you I don't have a secret formula. I'm not that good, but he is. And that's where I feel like you have really shown me that that's where we take our burdens and let him carry our cross. So, you have been an inspiration, and I pray that those that are listening, they don't grieve as if they have no hope. That there is hope, even in the midst of our grief.
Deb, I have a question for you. I don't even want to compare any grief or tragedy that I've had to especially the scenario of things that you had. But I went through a medical condition many years ago. And I remember being in the middle of that, a year deep into it, going, I wonder if my life will ever be normal. I wonder if I'll ever have fun and have energy and be who I used to be. In other words, will I ever have that joy back? And thankfully, yes. I did experience it. But did you ever have that thought, am I ever going to laugh again? Am I ever going to smile again? Am I ever going to have joy again?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did a lot. Like I said, I was in it. I was informed we have valleys and peaks. And given time, my mantra is let go and let God.
Can you say that again? Because that's like a phrase you tell me every week we meet.
Let go and let God.
Let go and let God.
Yes.
Quote that from Debbie Baker.
That's right. And when I started to do that, my valleys aren't so deep and my peaks are longer. So and this is a process. This isn't, this is, I'm not going to wake up one day and be who I was 3 years ago.
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So the healing is still happening, and so we would never want anybody to think that, well, you just say you believe in Jesus and all of a sudden you're fixed. There's still a healing process, but in that healing, how has your focus on what you do on a regular daily basis, how has it changed in the past 3 years? Where your thoughts go nowadays versus prior, what's different?
I start every morning. I set my alarm early, and I start every morning with prayer that I didn't before. And it's Thanksgiving prayers. I'm thankful for my aches and pains that I have, because that means
you're still alive.
Yeah, I'm still alive. I have the abilities to do my cleaning job. I have the abilities to get up and be with the kids. I turn to prayer a lot now, all through the day, that I didn't before.
How do you handle? I'm sorry, hon, I'm going off your script a little bit, but there's some things that come to mind. How do you handle, like you said at the beginning of your story, your thoughts about the people that have been in you or with you in this hurt, like Joshua's mom, like Chase's parents and family? How do you handle when you think about them? Because to me, that would be also a difficult part. It's one thing to get you healthy, but you also are connected to seeing the tragedy in their lives, and you can't just separate yourself from that, because you were part of that.
Their lives.
Because I've experienced loss, and just so you all know, this is just the 3.
Yeah, we could have been on here all day.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. There's a whole lot more. I I was blindsided.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to be 53 and be a widow. I wasn't going to go through what I did. And I didn't know how to handle things. It's almost like a stigma. I mean, everybody's life goes back to normal.
Right.
Once the funeral's over, everybody goes back to normal and yours doesn't.
Yeah.
And God, I've had a lot of strong people help me, but they still don't know what to do with me and how to handle things. And one of the things I hear all the time is, I'm so strong. Not necessarily. I just have to do what I have to do. I'm here. There's a purpose for me being here. I have helped. I have had a really good friend a year after my husband passed. Her husband passed suddenly also. And to be able to help her go through the steps and let her know you're not crazy, because she would call me all the time with that. And that, to be able to help them.
Yeah.
Chase's parents, I talk with them and tell them,
And they're willing to talk with
yes,
you.
Yes,
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
And, this is a process. This doesn't go away. You don't wake up one day and
It's gone. Yeah.
everything's back to normal.
Right.
I'm Debbie, from 10 years ago. No, it doesn't go away. It's just there. And the crazy part with a lot of this is, like with my husband, I'm thankful that he died when he did, because if he had been around for the COVID, he wouldn't have survived. And I wouldn't have been there with him.
Yeah, being apart from that.
Yeah. So there's,
It's crazy.
I try to find positive in things
Yeah.
Yeah.
and try to focus on that
Yeah.
than the pain and the anger, because that eats away at you.
Yeah.
And you're stagnant. You
Right.
are stuck.
And that's how God
You're
works.
buried, not planted.
Exactly.
Right.
And he works from the healing on the inside out. And he wants to take every tear that you've shed, every painful part of your life and your story, and he wants to redeem it for his good. He didn't cause it.
Right.
He wants to redeem it. And so that's what we want to be about. We want to be the hope that there is a better tomorrow. Is life going to be the same that it was 10 years ago? No. But I believe that God can bring some beauty through those ashes, and he could heal that pain from the inside out. So, as we kind of wrap up, Deb, I just want to thank you. I want to thank you first and foremost for being willing to share your story, because I know that there has been a lot of tears shed, and we've had some laughs, and we've cried together, and, it's still hard to relive some of that pain. But I knew there would be a day when you would be strong enough to share your story, because there is somebody out there who maybe just one part of your story. Like you said, there's a whole mini series, but that we are called to be his hands and feet. And so you have surrendered your life to him. And by the way, the ripple effect that has happened through the deaths just of Chase alone, and what I've seen God do in the family and friends of him and his family, like, it's breathtaking. It takes my breath away of that 3-year-old little Tasmanian devil has done in the lives of other people. And not just his life, but his death. Through his death has brought life, and people surrendering their life to his. And so that has been a beautiful picture of the gospel. And so I just want to thank you, because I do love your phrase, let go and let God, because that's what's going to bring us hope. So that's our challenge this week. If you're dealing with a sudden or tragic loss like Debbie, or, something seems pretty minuscule compared to that, but it's still getting you down, let's trust in God with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding, because we can't figure this out. There is no explanation to this, and we may never see an explanation or understand the tragedies and the grief this side of heaven. But in all our ways, we're called to acknowledge him, and that he will make our path straight. That's Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And I trust in that. I'm going to trust in that, and I hope you will too.
Yeah,
So.
Deb, I would just like to thank you too. I mean, I just have a lot of respect for your courage and strength, but I know it's just through a humble heart. It's not. This is not a story about trying to get shock and awe by a crazy amount of stories. This is one of, like you said, hon, of redemption, of faith, and just surrender, and the idea that I think it's so cool that you have a relationship with the people that have experienced tragedy with you, because I could see a lot of brokenness and rejection that could come from that if people did not feel the need to pull Christ in. And the one thing that you all have in common besides tragedy now is Christ. All of these people that you've talked about.
And not every, sorry, hon, to interrupt, but not everybody is where you are.
Right.
There is some complicated grief going on, and some people who haven't reconciled with Christ or with you, and so we want to acknowledge that this is a cycle of grief that does get messy, and there's a lot of hurt and a lot of brokenness, but we are telling you that hope is found in Christ. That there is healing that's possible, that there is joy in the morning. Those are promises of Him. And that's what we're going to trust in, and that's what you have turned to. And I love that. That's my favorite part of the story, is seeing you surrender your life for His. And so I just love you, and I'm so excited to see what God's going to do through your story.
Yeah.
Me too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get ready. Next
Hold
chapter.
on tight.
Next chapter.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to wrap it up, and so we do want to thank the people who come alongside of us. We want to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions and Maxwell Construction for helping us provide a platform to be able to share real stories like this.
Hard stories.
Nothing phony or fake about this. This is real, and it's not easy, but it does give us hope. So we want to thank those. We also want to just thank all of our listeners out there and viewers. Please, if you like what you hear, share these shows. I mean, I promise you there's somebody in your world that's gone through grief or going through grief that just needs to hear, like, how am I going to get through this? And this is a perfect show to be sharing with them. So share the shows, pass that along, and just help us out with these types of messages. So, hun, you want to sign us out?
Again, thanks, Debbie. I love you, and I'm so proud of you. And you did it. Yeah. Thanks again for listening to Rock Solid Radio, building a stronger community, one family at a time. Make it a great day.
Rock Solid Radio wants to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions. Casey's is a premier garden center and gift shop located in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. They offer a wide selection of high-quality plants, landscaping materials, and home decor. They do amazing high-quality work and can help you transform your indoor and outdoor living spaces into something beautiful. So stop by Casey's Outdoor Solutions today and let them know you appreciate their support for Rock Solid Radio. Visit Casey's today at 21481 State Line Road, Lawrenceburg, Indiana.